Welcome to the Retail Insider video interview series. I'm your host, Craig Patterson, and we're joined here today with a special guest, Chau Lui. She's the co-owner of Edmonton-Based Paris Jewelers. Welcome, Chau.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's talk a bit about Paris Jewelers. How was it founded, first of all?
Paris Jewelers really was founded by my mom. So our family immigrated from Vietnam, and my mom came here with her family, just to try to build a better future for our kids, thinking there's so much opportunity in Canada. And we landed first in Winnipeg, and then made our way to Alberta. And what we grew up seeing was my mom worked really hard. She worked two or three jobs at the same time and didn't know how to speak English. So she went to English as a second language class. She then had the opportunity to start training as a goldsmith at like a competitor's jewelry store, and she got really good at it. And a few years later, had the opportunity to open one small store in a town called St. Albert, Alberta. So I really dearly love St. Albert so much. And the time that she opened this very small 400 square foot modest store, she still didn't know how to speak English. So every time a customer would come in, she would pull out her Vietnamese English dictionary, and that's what she used to translate and communicate with customers. So I don't know how, how it happened, but I think customers just love the way that she made them feel in the store. And, we started getting more well known in the community of St. Albert. And I'll never forget the kindness of this community that took a chance on a family that really was new to the country, didn't know how to speak English, didn't really have a brand. So it was really special to us to have that store.
Was the store called Paris Jewelers, the first location?
The first location was called St. Albert Goldsmiths, actually, because it was in St. Albert and she was a goldsmith. So it was called St. Albert Goldsmiths. And then after that, a couple years later, the mall approached us and said, you know what, you're doing quite well. How do you feel about opening a second store in the same mall? And of course, we were like, no, like we have one store. It's more than we could have ever dreamed of. But, we don't grow from our comfort zone. So took the risk, opened that second store. And that's how Paris Jewelers came to be.
That is fascinating. Now, the company has more than 20 stores, I think, or tell me about the current operations.
Yeah, so currently we now have 23 stores in four provinces across Canada. So BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Ontario.
Excellent, excellent. And now you are a co-owner of the business, being the daughter of the founder. Tell me a little bit about the dynamics around the business currently and how things are going.
Yeah, the dynamics, like a family dynamic, I will say honestly, is really, really interesting. There's a plus side and there's also a side that can make it really, really challenging as well. So I joined the company and helped expand it to the 23 locations. But as I was growing the company, I really learned that I needed someone that was so much better than me in so many things. The financing, the planning. And so then I recruited my sister. She was actually working in oil and gas in Calgary. And I said, okay, I need to build a business. I kind of need you to come. So I had to convince her to come to the company. So she is a co-owner with me and she's absolutely fantastic. So the dynamic is for us, it's really good. Working with your family, especially your sister, it's like you have someone who you trust, that has your back, and it's a very much a team effort. I don't feel alone like building this business. What I will say is because it's a family dynamic, we're all very passionate. One of the things that works for us is we have really clear responsibilities and guidelines written out so that everybody knows their role and everybody knows their expectations. Like we have this saying in our company, and if it's written, it's real. So anytime we have a plan, we write it down, we make sure that everybody understands. And then even if we disagree, when we decide to move forward to plan, our like policy is we support that person. There's no I told you so's, and we just move forward together. So for the most part, it's actually really, really incredible as long as we're super clear in communicating.
Right. Now, tell me a bit about the product. I know that Paris Jewelers comes out with
Okay.
some, limited edition, are there partnerships or themes, or tell me a bit about the jewelry because there's a uniqueness to it.
Oh, thank you so much. The product is just, it is just the heart of our company because those products, like they celebrate a moment in time for that customer. So we just believe that every time a customer puts on that special piece, like they hold that moment close to their heart. So for us, we take our cues from the customers, right? We think about what they want, what they're asking. For example, like we have a live chat on our website. We are always like monitoring what's being asked. What are people looking for? Our customer care and like quote department, we're just always monitoring what's being quoted. And if we see a lot of that, and then we also look at trends, then we really dream up and create products that we think customers are going to love. Because that's what it's all about. If the customer doesn't love the product, it doesn't matter how much we love it, they're buying it. So a lot of the things, some of the things that we do really, we look at fashion, we look at trends, and then we look at what our customers want. We just launched a craft your carrot, which we're really excited about. This is like for us, a way to design your engagement ring online. So it's like creating your ring your way. So one of the biggest occasions in someone's life is, could be their engagement. It's so special. And we were seeing customers constantly ask, can I get this ring, but with this stone shape? Can I get this ring, but with a different size, in a different metal, in a different gold color? And we were getting it so often. And also, I actually make a point to do reception in my company still. I schedule time and I answer the phones. It's the only way I get to really connect with customers now and with our team members. And I learned so much by the questions that people ask. So I would a lot of times get, I need a quote for this. I need a quote for this. You want to change the ring. So then we started dreaming up, what if we could create something online where a customer could really craft their ring, see different options, and they could get it with convenience because it's really about what they want. So we just launched that, and I'm so excited because I think it's about meeting the customer where they are and where they need to be during their shopping experience.
That is so interesting. Now, tell me about the different categories of jewelry, because obviously you've got, engagement rings, wedding rings. Tell me about the occasions and who's the customer that's buying a lot of this.
You know what? What we're learning is our customer in our retail locations is a different, demographic than our online customers. So it's almost like we have two different businesses, right? I never thought that that would ever happen, but it is absolutely happening right now. So we do have that engagement ring customer, and we find that that engagement ring customer, because it is such a huge experience. If we can do it right, we have to earn their trust. They will continue to shop with us for years to come, for anniversaries, for birthdays, for baby gifts. Push presents are a thing for sure. What about when they have kids? We have a beautiful children's jewelry line partnered with the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Canada, for the baby's first piece of jewelry. So things like that. We also have a customer that is very fashion forward, we're finding. And they usually start online. So they are looking for affordable luxury, solid gold pieces, trending earrings, stacking necklaces, stacking rings. They're looking for all of those things. And they start online. They may go into the store, but we also want to encourage people to celebrate every single moment and every single occasion. It doesn't have to be a special occasion. They should celebrate themselves every day. That's like a part of our vision, that everyone's celebrating their story. So those are the occasions, but I think there's so many more.
Oh, that is fascinating. And now, in terms of the online, are there certain purchases that are made? Like probably not something for, an engagement ring because you want to try that on in the store. But tell me about sort of the online sales in terms of, say, what categories are really, really popular.
That's a great question. So what we're finding has been really great online is our solid gold jewelry. So your solid gold essentials that you're going to wear every day, gold chains, gold earrings, and also personalized jewelry. People are wanting something a little bit more personal that like shares their stories. So our initial necklaces are going well, but we also do sell engagement rings online. It is when a customer will trust us that they will move forward and spend thousands of dollars in that engagement ring online. And I think that that is the biggest compliment that we can receive, that a customer trusts us enough for that occasion.
Oh, it makes sense. Tell me about the experience in the store, because jewelry stores are very much, I guess, a high touch type of experience. But tell me about the actual Paris jeweler stores, including the interiors and the customer service. Uh,
Yeah, that's a great question because we have 23 stores and we've been around for over 30 years. A lot of our stores have like different looks. Actually, we're trying to get everything streamlined and renovated. That takes quite a bit of time, and planning. But I would say like our newest concept look, it would be our West Edmonton Mall flagship location, our hometown of Edmonton. It's very neutral. It's very gray. It's very open. We want customers to feel really comfortable, and we wanted the jewelry to take center stage. When it comes to the experience, I would say for us, and for me especially, that's a part that I'm super passionate and really, really intentional and crazy about in the best way because customers have something we don't have. They have choice. They can choose to go anywhere. So when they choose us, I believe that it's an honor and it's a privilege. So the experience has to be really, really great. So when a customer walks in our store, this is what I want to see. And it probably doesn't happen all the time, to be honest, but this is what we train for. So we have a really regimented training program to ensure that the customers are getting the great experience. We don't want to start showing anyone products. So, like Craig, if you walked in the store, I would expect someone to say, "Hi, how are you? Welcome to Paris Jewelers." And then just really get to know you, ask you questions to determine what jewelry works for you, what's important to you in selecting these pieces, and then begin to show you the products. Because I think we have to earn the right to know the customer to start showing them product so that we can get it right for them. It's important.
Terrific, terrific. Now, in terms of retail expansion, Paris Jewelers is in Western Canada. Do you foresee the business expanding perhaps a little bit further east, or tell me about what you have as maybe a bit of a longer term vision for Paris Jewelers?
I am super excited about expansion. I don't know if I'm allowed to share anymore, but like we are absolutely, looking forward to growth, especially where we see that it's working online, right? Like we have to be able to make those data-driven decisions. So if we see there's an area online that we're doing well, we're going to look into that more. So I am excited for what the future holds. We did open a store in Edmonton in 2021. And then we just kind of like during the last 2 years took a pause and really looked at our foundation, looked at growing the business internally with like training, with product, making sure everything was right before we look forward to expansion, but absolutely open to expanding for sure. I think it's a very exciting time in retail and there's so many opportunities. And I just think of all the customers that maybe don't know us yet, that I'm excited to get to know us.
Paris Jewelers opened a store in 2021. Not to bring up any bad memories for anybody here, but let's talk a bit about the pandemic. How were things with the pandemic? We had some obviously lockdowns and whatnot. How was the jewelry business online and the physical business during that time that a lot of us I think want to forget?
Yeah, yeah. So that was a time that I will say, Trey and I say that we've never worked harder in our lives than during that time, just because things were changing all the time. And we're in 4 provinces. Every province had different rules. So when people ask like how did the company during the pandemic, I have to kind of say like it depends on the province. Ontario didn't fare as well. We were closed so often, that I think like one year we were closed 7 months out of the year. So that was a challenging year. Of course, online sales surged, but we saw that as an opportunity to say, okay, what's working and how do we keep these customers with us when everything opens up? So that was a huge focus for us during the last 2 years to really look at that online business and say, what is working? What can we double down on and make better? And how do we continue to keep these customers loyal? The pandemic gave us a really amazing gift, I would say. Like I know it was such a challenge for so many people, but it gave us the gift of perspective. So this was a time that Trang and I took with the team, and we looked at our business with a fine tooth comb and said, what's working, what's not working. We created a stop doing list because we are like, what are we doing? What are we doing and why? And if we didn't have an answer that was better than that's because that's the way we've always done it, then we just removed it. So it was actually I look back at it as a time where we looked at our business and we built a foundation, we corrected things that were wrong, and we're still continuing that. But it was a gift in terms of that perspective for us.
No, moving forward here. Now, were there any, the internet is obviously, well, it's global, and you've got stores in Western Canada. Are there any markets outside of where you are currently that are seeing demand for the jewelry online?
You know what? It's like we're just kind of seeing it all over Canada, but I would say I think there's lots of opportunity in Ontario for us. There's so many people in Ontario, and I feel like we have 3 stores there, so that would be very exciting and interesting for us for sure.
Terrific, terrific. Is there anything else you want to talk about today with Paris Jewelers?
Oh, I'm so excited for the holiday season. So you're just catching me as 2 days ago we had our big holiday campaign shoot, and I'm just so excited for all of the things that we're launching. We're launching something really special. I don't know how much I'm allowed to share, but something really unique and special that we've been working on for like quite a while now. So I'm excited for that in our holiday collection. Like it launches November 3rd. And I feel like the team has worked so hard to really bring a collection that customers are going to love and be able to celebrate the holidays with and celebrate themselves. So I'm really excited about that.
That is terrific. That's terrific. What goes into developing these collections?
Yeah, we take feedback from consumers. So some things like we work on like a year or two in advance. We look at a trend and we look at how is that going to work for us? When you see things on the runways, it is done so well and so beautifully, but might not work for, your Alberta, or like Prince George, BC. So we take that and then we kind of dream things up, get ideas going, get samples in, and then we look at it. And then we actually a lot of times wear the samples to make sure that it's right. We make changes. Some things go through like 3 or 4 iterations before it even makes it to the sales floor. And if it doesn't make it, then we just hold back the sample. So it is like a really great experience and process for us. But the most important thing I will say it is that customer's feedback. when we see something that does really, really well, we look at it and say, what about this item works? And where can we grow this certain product category and that collection, right?
Do you notice quite a difference in terms of how or trends that people look for, say, in Edmonton and Calgary as being larger cities versus some of the smaller communities?
Yes, it is such a difference because, for example, our store in Lloydminster, which is just a few hours away from Edmonton, their top sellers are so different from our Edmonton store. It is like a contrast, like quite a stark difference, right? And so we're noticing those trends. So what we really try to do is cater to that, look at sell through and have store assortments. Like the stores do have the same assortment for the most part, but we do have to make changes based on the stores, right? We have a store in Brampton, Ontario, where they sell yellow gold more than any other store in our company. So we make sure that they have more yellow gold all the time because that's what the customer wants. They're not going to be buying, white gold as much. So we really try to make those adjustments. It is a lot of coordination and work, but it really is like when we get that product to the store, we want it to be great for the customer, right?
That's right, and that would be a cultural thing.
Yeah.
You'd have more solid gold in a place like Brampton versus in another market where it would be a different demographic.
Absolutely. So I think we really have to adjust and we really have to say, what does a customer want in this area and how can we supply that? At the end of the day, we're all just solving problems for customers, right?
Absolutely. And Lloydminster is kind of close to my heart, having played hockey there. I grew up in Cold
Is
Lake,
it?
which
Did
I'm curious, what would I mean, if you know off the top of your head, what sells really well in Lloydminster versus say West Edmonton Mall?
Okay, I will tell you, absolutely. Lloydminster sells a lot of pendants. They sell a lot of gold pendants, charms, crosses. It is really, really important to that community. Grad in that community is so important. So we always make sure that for grad season, it is a big deal there. We always make sure that we have a great selection for grads. So our grads can come into our store and feel really, really good pairing these items with their dresses. They love things in color. So those are the things that we have to know about our customers. So we make sure that store stocked so our customers are happy when they come in. But grad is a big deal in Lloydminster, hey?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I had to look at the website. It was talking a little bit about, the importance of having good people. Tell me about the staffing in stores as well as, finding the best managers for Paris Jewelers.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm sure everybody in retail is going to tell you in the last 2 years, staffing has been more of a challenge. I will say that we are specific in the type of people that we do look for. Number one, they have to have our values first. It's being grateful, being kind, being sincere, having a can-do attitude, wanting to leave a legacy. So, like, one of our first interview questions is, what are you grateful for today? Because being grateful is one of our main core values. And if they can't find something that they're grateful for, really challenging for us to bring them on board, right? Because there's just not that alignment. So we will look at that. And I think for me, as the number one I look for is willingness, because willingness is something you can't train. If you have that, we can train you on anything because we have great training programs, right? We have leadership training programs, product knowledge, sales training. We have it. So if they have willingness and they have our values of being kind and sincere and having that can-do attitude and being grateful, they're going to do well at Paris Jewelers. But we're super clear in the interview what we're about and what they can expect because there's no surprises. So I think that's really helped us streamline our interview process and who we want to bring on board so that they can be successful. It's important that you find the right fit, not just for us, but for them as well.
Terrific. Well, I'm grateful that you joined us here today.
Thanks,
Thank
Craig.
you so much. This has been Chau Lui. You're the co-owner of Edmonton-based Paris Jewelers. Thank you so much for joining us here today and telling us about the business.
Thanks for having me, Craig.
And I'm Craig Patterson. I'm the founder, CEO, and publisher of Retail Insider Media. I'm also the host here of the Retail Insider video interview series. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Be sure to subscribe on whatever platform that you're either watching this on or listening to this on. And be sure to join us for more of these here. Thank you so much, everyone, again, for joining us today. Take care and bye for now.